Yeah, so I'm here in the parking lot of my old high school. Um, I started making this in a different parking lot of my high school, and it was kind of spooky. And I saw a police car, and I figured I wasn't doing it, but I feel like just being on the premises of a high school, I don't know. I feel like it's certainly, I don't know, not trespassing, I guess, but I don't know, and I get, I'm very afraid of the police. So I was gonna leave, but then I just, I didn't. I remained in well, yeah, I mean, I moved, but I'm in a very similar location. In fact, I didn't, I didn't, I didn't move, a very far distance. So, anyways, I didn't end up, saying that much when I was trying to make this before, but, so it's cloudy. Oh, it's 12:22. It looks like a.m. On it's August 2nd now. I think I guess the night of August 1st, August 2nd. So I mean, one important facet about tonight is no moon in sight, no moon at all, nothing. It's cloudy. It's on new moon. It should be. I think it's getting smaller right now. I don't know if that's called waxing or waning. I know it's one of those. I don't know which one it is. But it's doing. I know the moon's doing that right now, and it was a crescent last night. Um, so it's a smaller crescent tonight, which I guess is also why usually if it's cloudy, I don't believe the clouds are very thick tonight. But in any case, you can't really see the moon through them. Now, one thing is, I know the rough location of where the moon is simply because this is definitely not going to show up, especially with these lights here. This part of the sky is much lighter than, say, this part of the sky, which is in the opposite direction. But that doesn't really matter. I know it's probably not going to show up in the video. So I figure I'm not going to have that much to say about the moon simply because it can't be in any obvious sense. Tonight, the object or the current appearance of the moon cannot in any significant sense be the object of any reflection or contemplation, simply because the appearance of the moon tonight is so slight that all it's doing is making one part of the sky ever so lighter in hue than the other side of the sky. But that itself, it turns out, is a pretty interesting thing about the moon. So, obviously the stars also have this sort of quality where they seem to, say, disappear if it's cloudy, right? But it seems a little stranger for the moon. I guess one reason being the moon's just it's a lot more ever present when it's doing its thing. When it's like full moon, it appears a lot more brightly than the stars, meaning that its absence is just that much more, that much more startling. Obviously, I'm using startling in some non-standard sense here because nobody's really startled when it's cloudy and you can't see the moon. But I guess it adds more to the actual character. I think I see a bat flying. It's very, very spooky. But so it's one curious thing about the moon. It disappears simply due to cloudiness. However, when it's there, it is so ever present, so as to essentially illuminate the world. Obviously, not that much, but that's still what it's doing. It's giving light to the night. I think that's actually birds, not bats. But so this is something I was thinking about yesterday too about the moon. This quality where it can sort of essentially disappear, which we don't have in the sun. So I think it adds something very, very significant to the moon, is that essentially in our relations to it, it's contingent on a lot more variables, such as the weather. Even if there are a lot of trees or something like that, you just can't see it. Maybe it's low in the sky and you just don't know where it is. But so this whole character where the moon can just not appear. It's almost like, I don't know. I mean, just why is that so? I mean, I guess the answer to that is fairly obvious, but it's still something about it seems a little unusual. That there's just this gigantic, massive, like the size of the United States, I believe, celestial object floating, suspended in the night sky. However, and another thing, it produces just a lot of light. It's very luminescent. It glows in the sky. You know, a glowing pearl in a sea of black, if you will. And yet, some clouds, and it just disappears. And you can't tell where it is. I mean, obviously, if there were more clouds, I would not be able to tell where it was at all. Which just seems unusual, that there's this gigantic thing, and yet, and it, can affect the appearance of the night in such a significant way, and yet its disappearance is caused by very contingent and moreover very, I don't know what the exact word I'm thinking of here, but I want to say something like non-serious factors. So, light clouds or some trees but no, that's definitely a bat flying around. I don't know if you can see it. That's crazy. Don't see a lot of bats over here. Yeah, it's just flying around in a circle around that light. There it is again. It's flying in a very bizarre pattern. But so the moon, it just, I guess it has this disappearing, this fleeting quality, if you will. Another thing is, it's like another thing about the moon's appearance is that it doesn't define the night in the same way that the sun's appearance defines the day. So, sun's out, it's day. We got daylight. Daylight is present, permeating through the atmosphere and whatnot. But the moon's out, could be night, could not be night. Right now, clearly night. However, most people outside right now probably don't know where the moon is, even roughly. So that's another thing, it's almost like an additional thing. Like, we could have night without the moon, you can't have day without the sun. So it's additional in some sense. It's a special feature, a Japan-only bonus track, if you will. And I think that adds something to it. I keep thinking back to, I want to keep saying the moon's mystery or mystique or something like that, but I guess that doesn't really make sense. I don't know why I'm thinking in those terms, but, and there's that right there. So it just, I was just thinking, that's another property the moon possesses. It's another thing that bears heavily on the way the moon interacts with the night, moreover the way that we are able to interact with the moon, and things like that. So obviously, like I said, I feel like this is a very repetitive contemplation of the moon. But alas, where am I to go in my contemplations, if not in a loop when the moon does not actually appear, really? So hopefully not too many more cloudy days ahead. Although I know the new moon's coming up. That'll be something, I suppose. So that's all there is to say about the moon today.